There are some truths a woman must carry in silence, not out of fear, but out of sacred wisdom. We live in a world that praises exposure, that glorifies oversharing. But let me share something with you today that could change the way you protect your spirit, your dreams, and your heart. There are three things, a sacred three, that no woman should ever reveal, not even to those closest to her, not to her best friend, not to her parents, not even to the one she loves most. Why? Because some treasures lose their power the moment they are spoken out loud. In a culture that screams, "Tell all," true strength whispers, "Hold back." Power doesn't lie in what is made public. It lies in what remains protected, in what is guarded with quiet wisdom, in what is nurtured in private. A woman who understands this doesn't walk through life broadcasting every emotion or intention. She walks with quiet grace, with a deep, unshakable dignity. She holds her head high, not because she's hiding, but because she's discerning. And today, I'm going to show you what those three things are. When you hear them, something inside you will shift. You'll stop feeling the need to explain yourself. You'll stop handing your power to people who were never meant to carry it. You'll begin to walk with a wisdom that protects your purpose. First, your pain. A woman's pain is sacred. It is not a display for pity or fuel for gossip. When you speak your pain to those who lack compassion or character, they will use it to define you. Every time you try to rise, they'll remind you of the wound. That's why some pain must be healed in silence, between you and God, between your soul and the night. There are battles that demand solitude, because the wrong audience will turn your healing into humiliation. They will laugh at your scars or weaponize your story. Second, your plans. Your dreams are seeds, and seeds do not sprout under constant handling. When you expose your plans too early, you invite interference, jealousy, and spiritual attack. Not everyone smiles because they want you to succeed. Some people nod while hoping you fall, so keep your plans close. Let them grow in the hidden soil of prayer and persistence. Let them take root in the quiet, so when they emerge, they can withstand every storm the world throws at them. And third, your love. Yes, love is beautiful. Love is a gift. But love without discernment is a doorway to heartbreak. A woman who gives all her love too quickly, who lays her heart bare to someone unworthy, places her joy into fragile hands. Deep love must be guarded until trust proves it safe. Not every heart is equipped to handle the weight of yours. Real love is not loud. It is layered, thoughtful, and protected. So, my dear sister, remember this. What you conceal is not weakness. It is wisdom. What you protect is not fear. It is foresight. Hide your pain so the world doesn't use it to label you. Hide your plans so they can grow without sabotage. Hide your love so it is given only to one who honors it. In this loud, exposing generation, may you be the quiet mystery that draws true strength. Let your silence carry depth. Let your wisdom walk before you like a shield, because the woman who guards what matters most is the woman who will rise the highest. She doesn't need to prove her value. She embodies it with every quiet step she takes. But in today's world, where constant expression is celebrated and silence is mistaken for weakness, many women fall into a dangerous pattern. They reveal too much, too often. They speak their emotions, their plans, and their personal thoughts to anyone who seems to listen. But what they don't realize is this: the more you reveal, the more you risk. Words once released cannot be retrieved. Secrets once exposed cannot be locked away again. And trust once broken leaves a scar that doesn't fade easily. A wise woman, one who walks with vision and discernment, understands the weight of her words. She knows that not every ear that listens has good intentions. Not every nod means support. Some are simply gathering ammunition. Discretion is not deception, it's protection. To protect your peace, your dreams, and your spirit is not selfish, it's sacred. You must recognize that your soul is not a marketplace for opinions. Not everyone is meant to walk freely through the chambers of your heart. Some come not to lift you, but to drain you, not to inspire, but to hinder. A woman must learn to place boundaries around her spirit as carefully as one guards a flame in the wind. There's a reason the world treasures what is rare and hidden. Diamonds lie buried deep beneath the earth. Gold is mined with great effort. The most sacred places in history, temples, sanctuaries, holy grounds, are never left unguarded or easily accessible. Why? Because their value demands it. And you, dear woman, are more valuable than any treasure this world has ever known. Your thoughts are not for everyone to examine. Your dreams are not for everyone to critique. Your struggles are not meant to be entertainment for spectators in your life. Learn to share only with those who have proven their loyalty, their wisdom, and their love through time, not just words. There is also incredible strength in unpredictability. A woman who doesn't reveal all she feels, all she knows, or all she plans becomes a force that cannot be manipulated. People may try to guess her next move, but they'll be left in uncertainty. And in that uncertainty, she holds the upper hand. That isn't manipulation. That's strategic. Wisdom. She understands that transparency must be earned, not demanded, that silence is sometimes more powerful than any speech. When she smiles instead of explaining, when she pauses instead of reacting, she confuses those who expect her to break. And in that stillness, she maintains control. A woman's heart is not a hallway open to every passerby. It is a sacred temple filled with memory, pain, vision, and love. And not all who enter come with reverence. Some walk in with muddy feet and careless hands. That is why a wise woman builds walls, not to keep love out, but to guard her value within. The world will tell you to share your truth with everyone, to bare your soul as proof of authenticity. But true strength is not in how much you expose, it's in what you wisely choose to protect. Not every sorrow should be spoken aloud. Not every pain needs a public audience. Some wounds are for God's ears only, and some healing happens in holy silence, not social validation. A woman must discern when to open her heart and when to retreat into quietness with the Lord, because when you expose your wounds too freely, they become targets. You see, not everyone who listens wants to help. Some are simply collecting your struggles to replay them when it's convenient for gossip. Some are waiting to use your story as a weapon. That's not pessimism. It's protection born from experience. A wise woman learns to lay her deepest aches at the feet of God, not in the hands of man. She fights her battles in the secret place, not in the public arena, and when she does speak, it is not for attention, it is for healing. It is not to be seen, it is to be strengthened. Even your dreams, those precious seeds of destiny, require safeguarding. Shared too early, and they may be crushed by careless comments or poisoned by envy, disguised as advice. Some people will celebrate you to your face and secretly hope you fail behind closed doors. That's why a woman must be selective about who hears her vision. Not every ear deserves to hear your dreams. Not every smile is sincere. Those who truly support you will show it through action, not just applause. And then there's love. Love is sacred. Love is deep. But love without boundaries becomes exhaustion. A woman who pours her love into everyone, without discernment, often finds herself empty. She gives her heart too easily, her energy too freely, and in return receives heartbreak, manipulation, and regret. True love must be protected by wisdom. Not all who say they love you deserve the fullness of your soul. There are people in this world who take and take, draining love without ever pouring any back. Love, true love, is a sacred gift. It is not something to be tossed at the feet of the ungrateful or the emotionally careless. It is not something to be handed out like trinkets at a festival. No, love is to be treasured, honored, and above all protected. A woman must understand that real love is not proven by intensity alone. It is proven by time, by sacrifice, by actions that echo far beyond words. It is not weakness to withhold the full depth of your devotion from someone who has not yet earned it. It is not a game, it is self-respect. You can love deeply without loving blindly. To love wisely, that is power. A woman's heart is not a public garden for anyone to wander through. It is a treasure chest, and not everyone should hold the key. Some things are not meant to be hidden because they are unworthy of being known, but because they are far too precious to be mishandled by unsteady hands. And then there is trust. Trust is one of the most fragile yet powerful gifts a woman can give. It opens the door not only to connection, but also to betrayal. We often hear the phrase, "Trust must be earned." But how many women still hand it out like candy to those who have done little to prove they are worthy? In a world that shouts, "Be open, be vulnerable, share everything," wisdom gently whispers something different. Be discerning, be watchful, be slow to trust, because once trust is broken, it rarely returns in the same form. A woman who trusts too easily opens the gates of her life to chaos, welcoming disappointment, betrayal, and emotional theft. Trust should not be scattered like wildflower seeds in the wind. It should be planted carefully, with intention, in the soil of proven character. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Not everyone who listens to your words is listening with a pure heart. Some people enter your life only to extract your secrets, your dreams, your soft spots. They study your vulnerabilities not to protect them, but to one day use them as leverage. A woman must not confuse longevity with loyalty. Just because someone has been around for years does not mean they've earned access to the sacred chambers of her soul. Time alone does not build trust. Consistency does. True trust is not built on promises, but on patterns. It is proven not through loud declarations, but through quiet faithfulness. A woman should never feel obligated to reveal everything. Some stories, some heartaches, some dreams are not for public consumption. They are sacred. They are hers alone, shared. Only when God says, "This one is safe, this one is worthy." The world doesn't need to know every thought that passes through her mind, every plan she has whispered to the stars, or every scar she has hidden beneath her strength. And here's a sobering truth. Many women share not because they trust, but because they feel guilty not to. They fear seeming distant or being labeled too guarded. But withholding is not cruelty. It is wisdom clothed in self-respect. There is great danger in trusting too quickly, especially in moments of vulnerability. Pain has a way of clouding judgment. When a woman is hurting, her heart searches desperately for comfort, and sometimes it lands in the wrong hands. She may pour out her soul to someone who only seems to care, but later that same person may twist her truth into a story for others to consume. This is why discernment is everything. A woman must learn to pause before she speaks, to pray before she opens up, and to listen, truly listen to her spirit before she entrusts her heart to another. If someone has proven themselves unfaithful in small matters, why give them more? If they have betrayed another, what makes you think they won't do the same to you? Even in love, trust must be tested, because love is not validated by how much you reveal. It is validated by how much you protect. Just because someone desires you does not mean they will cherish you. Just because they pursue you does not mean they will protect what they find. A woman must not hand over her heart to someone who has not shown that they are strong enough to carry it. Her love is a crown, not a burden. True trust is forged in fire, built over time, refined through trials, confirmed in storms. A woman who knows the limits of her trust also knows the depth of her worth. And that knowledge, that sacred awareness, is one of the greatest shields she will ever carry. A woman who truly understands trust also understands her own worth. She does not hand over her heart lightly because she knows that trust is not a gift, it's a privilege. Only those who have consistently proven themselves worthy deserve a place within the walls of her soul. She guards her inner world, not out of fear but out of wisdom, because when she gives someone access to her heart, she is offering something sacred, and just as she guards her trust, she also guards her words. Because words, though invisible, carry unimaginable weight. They can lift someone out of despair or push them into darkness. They can build a future or tear it down in seconds. The power of a woman's voice is not measured by how loudly she speaks, but by how wisely she chooses when and how to use it. We live in a culture that often tells women to speak their truth without boundaries, to voice every thought, emotion and frustration as if silence were weakness. But the wise woman knows better. She has learned that silence, when chosen with discernment, is not a sign of suppression, it is a mark of strength. She understands that some truths, though real, are not ready to be shared, and some thoughts, though loud in her mind, are best left unspoken. There are words that once spoken cannot be gathered back. Like arrows loosed from the bow, they land where they may, sometimes wounding, sometimes destroying, and sometimes changing the course of relationships or even destinies. A wise woman learns not to be ruled by temporary emotions. She knows that anger, disappointment, and even unguarded joy can all push her to speak prematurely. How many friendships have been fractured by words spoken in haste? How many career paths, relationships, or opportunities have vanished because something private was exposed too soon? A woman who has learned to govern her tongue is a woman who is shaping her future with wisdom. She doesn't talk to fill empty air. She doesn't reveal her plans to those who haven't earned her trust. She doesn't allow momentary emotions to hijack her voice. Instead, she breathes, she pauses, and she speaks only when her words carry purpose. There are also certain things a woman should never speak, not because they are lies, but because they do her no good. Speaking poorly of herself, for instance, is like casting a shadow over her own light. When she declares she's not good enough, not pretty enough, or not capable, those words don't just fade away. They root themselves deep in her subconscious. They begin to shape her self-image and influence her reality. Words, when repeated, become beliefs, and beliefs become behavior. She must also refrain from careless speech about others. Gossip may seem harmless, just passing conversation, but it's poison to the soul. It reveals more about the speaker than the subject, and once it's said, it cannot be unsaid. A woman of wisdom does not allow her mouth to become a vessel for negativity. Her speech is intentional. It builds, it blesses, it uplifts, or it remains. Still, then there are secrets, sacred things that must remain locked within her until the right time, or never spoken at all. A woman must discern what is hers to keep and what is safe to share. Not every part of her journey needs to be explained. There are silent battles only God should witness. There are private victories that must be cherished in secret. And there are wounds that need healing in stillness, not exposure. The more she speaks, the more tools she gives others. Tools that could be used to wound her spirit. Not everyone who hears her story will understand it. Not everyone will protect what she shares. Some will twist her truth. Some will judge her pain. And some will simply insert opinions where none were invited. But a woman who knows how to guard her speech guards her peace. There is immense power in restraint. A woman who masters her words walks with a quiet dignity, a grace that cannot be easily shaken. She becomes a mystery, captivating, compelling, respected. People listen to her not because she talks often, but because when she does, her words matter. Her silence makes space for others to wonder, to respect, and to reflect. And let us not forget, silence is often misunderstood. Many assume that when a woman chooses not to argue, not to explain herself, not to respond, she is powerless. But they are mistaken. Her silence is not weakness. It is wisdom under control. It is strength dressed in stillness. In a world that demands fast reactions, unfiltered responses, and non-stop sharing, a woman who remains silent stands out like a pillar of calm in the chaos. She does not allow every comment to provoke her. She does not waste her energy arguing with those who lack understanding. Her silence becomes a shield, an armor against manipulation and emotional noise. She knows this truth. Silence, when chosen wisely, can shake the ground more than 1,000 words ever could. And in moments of life when everything inside her is begging for a response, when emotions rage and the pressure to speak rises, she remembers not every battle requires her voice. Some victories are won in prayer, some problems fade in time, and some conflicts lose power the moment she chooses not to participate. When others lash out with anger, she meets them with quiet resolve. When gossip spreads like wildfire, she doesn't fan the flames. She lets silence suffocate the smoke. And when she is provoked, mocked, or misrepresented, she doesn't rise to defend herself before those who already made up their minds. Why? Because she knows. True strength does not waste its breath on battles that offer no victory. Instead, she lets silence speak on her behalf. A woman of wisdom does not chase every rumor, respond to every criticism, or correct every misjudgment. She has learned that silence isn't weakness, it's power cloaked in dignity. In a world that constantly demands an explanation, she has mastered the art of holding her peace, because sometimes not reacting is the most powerful response. And there's more. Silence also preserves her power. A woman who reveals every thought, every emotion, every intention gives others too many keys to her inner world. But when she guards her words, when she keeps her plans close and her emotions closer, she remains in control. The fewer people know, the fewer opportunities they have to twist her truth or exploit her openness. In a world that often turns vulnerability into ammunition, her silence becomes her shield. She knows that not everyone is entitled to her story. Not every friend is a confidant. Not every smiling face is a safe space. Some things are best left unsaid, not because they are shameful, but because they are sacred. There are seasons of growth that must be nurtured in private. There are dreams that need time to take root before facing the harsh winds of doubt. And there are battles that can only be won in the quiet spaces between prayer and patience. There is also immense wisdom in observation. A woman who listens more than she speaks sees what others miss. In her quietness, she picks up on the subtle cues, the mismatch between someone's words and actions, the hesitation in a compliment, the hidden motives behind polite smiles. While others are caught up in noise, she is studying, learning, and preparing. She doesn't act on impulse. She moves with discernment. Her decisions aren't reactions, they are strategies. And above all, silence brings her peace. She doesn't spend her days explaining herself to people who won't understand. She doesn't exhaust her mind defending what doesn't need defending. She is not tangled in webs of drama or drained by endless debates. Instead, her energy is focused on her healing, on her growth, on her purpose. The strongest women aren't the ones who shout the loudest, but the ones who have cultivated the quiet confidence that speaks even when their lips do not. A woman's peace, her plans, and her pain. These are not souvenirs for public display. In an era where oversharing is glorified, where people are pressured to expose every layer of their lives for validation, true wisdom lies in sacred preservation. It's not deception, it's protection. A woman who preserves herself isn't hiding out of fear. She is shielding what is precious from those who cannot be trusted to honor it. Because not everyone will appreciate her honesty. Not everyone will cherish her truth, and not everyone deserves access to the most intimate corners of her heart. Her peace is one of her greatest treasures, and she will protect it with everything she has. Yes, there will be people, situations, distractions that try to pull her into chaos. There will be drama waiting at every turn, arguments begging for attention, and conflicts eager for her involvement. But she doesn't engage. She doesn't pick up every sword thrown at her feet. She chooses her wars with intention and refuses to let the noise of the world undo the peace she's built in silence. Protecting her peace also means recognizing when to walk away, when to remain silent, when to remove herself from spaces that no longer nurture her, from relationships that drain instead of pour, from environments that dim her light instead of fan her flame. Her plans, too, are sacred. A woman who announces every move before she takes it invites resistance before she even begins. The world is not always kind to ambition, and jealousy often wears the mask of friendship. Dreams, like seedlings, are fragile in their early stages, and if exposed too soon, they may be crushed beneath the weight of criticism, fear, or sabotage. A wise woman knows this. She moves in silence, not because she's unsure, but because she's strategic. Her results will speak loud enough. She understands that not every friend is a friend, that not every word of encouragement comes from a pure heart. Some smile in public, but root for her downfall in private. That's why she doesn't just watch what others say, she watches what they do. A woman who carries this kind of discernment doesn't let applause distract her, nor does she let criticism define her. She is not swayed by attention or discouraged by opposition. Her focus is fixed, her soul is guarded, and her purpose is protected. Because at the end of the day, she is not here to prove anything to the world. She is here to live in alignment with who God created her to be. A truly wise woman understands that her strength lies not only in what she reveals, but in what she intentionally conceals. By keeping her plans private, she grants them the sacred space to grow, uninterrupted by outside opinions or opposing forces. Like a gardener shielding her seedlings from harsh winds, she ensures her vision is nurtured in peace until it's strong, enough to face the world. In doing so, she stays aligned with her purpose, grounded in her values, and fully in control of her destiny. Then there's her pain, a sacred part of her journey that the world often tries to claim. While society glorifies raw openness and constant vulnerability, not every wound is meant to be shared. Not every scar needs to be displayed. There is a difference between healing and exposing, between release and recklessness. Some wounds need the quiet of solitude, not the stage of public attention. A woman who constantly shares her struggles with the wrong people may find her pain turned into gossip, her story used as a weapon, her heart dismissed instead of embraced. What may be met with sympathy today can become a source of judgment tomorrow. Real strength is not always loud. It doesn't always cry out or plead for understanding. Often true strength is silent. It's in the quiet faith of a woman who decides to fight her battles in solitude, with God by her side, with resilience in her soul, and with the kind of confidence that doesn't need applause to feel worthy. The art of preservation is not selfishness, it is wisdom. A woman who masters it walks through life with elegance and quiet fire. She doesn't waste energy trying to explain herself to those who will never truly listen. She does not pour herself into places that do not pour back. Instead, she keeps what is sacred, sacred. And in doing so, she becomes unshakable, unstoppable, unbreakable. She doesn't bend to every breeze or break at every storm because her roots run deep, planted firmly in self-respect, divine strength, and spiritual clarity. Her power doesn't come from how much she shares with the world. It flows from what she chooses to withhold. Her mystery is magnetic, her silence is strength, her preservation is her shield. In a world obsessed with exposure, she reclaims the value of privacy. While others scream for attention, she becomes unforgettable simply by being herself. Her heart, her dreams, her struggles, they're not public currency. They are treasures, guarded like jewels, shared only with those who have proven they are, capable of holding them with care. She learns that not every listener is trustworthy, that not every ear is safe, that not every heart can be counted on to keep its promises. So, she becomes selective, she discerns, she protects herself not from a place of fear, but from a place of wisdom. And that wisdom gives her authority over her emotions, her boundaries, and her future. In this space of discretion, she finds peace. She no longer lives for validation. She does not feel the need to be understood by everyone, nor does she crumble under the weight of being misunderstood. Her confidence isn't performative. It's rooted in truth. She no longer tries to prove her worth. She simply walks in it. She knows that her peace is priceless, her dreams are delicate, and her inner world is not a playground for the careless. That's why she guards her heart, not to push people away, but to protect what's sacred. She's not cold, she's courageous. She's not aloof, she's aware. So to every woman listening right now, protect your peace, guard your dreams. Keep your heart close to your chest, not because you fear the world, but because you value yourself too much to hand your power to it. Speak when the Spirit leads, but understand that sometimes the most profound statement you'll ever make is your silence. Sometimes the most powerful answer is a quiet nod, a knowing smile, and a walk away from what doesn't serve you. Live with intention, move with wisdom, stand with dignity, and always remember this: the most powerful things about you will never be the ones the world sees. They will be the strength you carry in silence, the dreams you protect in secret, and the faith you walk out when no one's watching.